the whole computer and the mobility revolution happening. Like that, we are on the verge of having a revolution. AI is not going to replace human beings, so don't get into this iRobot type of stupid movies. It's not going to happen this way. Question is, how are we having AI to perform certain tasks that we were otherwise not able to perform? And I can give you a lot of examples. We are talking about school, counseling, psychiatry. Most of these, assessments, they are done in English. Like they are originally written in English. The clinical trial for all of them happened in English. Right? Simple question. How can I make it vernacular? Because if I don't make it vernacular, the problem is there would be a confirmation bias because I just don't understand that language well enough to answer. Why are we talking so much? Let's get into this thing. Can I get a volunteer who can speak both English and Hindi? Can I get one? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'll show you one sentence. Just translate that for me in English. Can you just read it? I don't even read it.
घबराहट, बेचैनी या घबराहट महसूस हो रही है.
Can you translate it for me? This is actually a Google Translate. I'll tell you what did I translate in Google.
I am feeling uneasy,
Okay.
not at rest.
Okay. दो बार घबराहट है. हाँ.
Yeah, anxious and unrest.
I am feeling anxious and unrest. Okay. The original sentence was feeling nervous, anxious, or on the edge. Guess what? This is the first question of Gadsden. And this is what AI can solve for us. GAD7.
That would be one of the more established scales to measure anxiety. It would be considered as a standardized scale, and the point here is for a lot of us who use, let's say a HAM-D or a BEX, let's say a PHQ-9, some of these scales that a lot of you may be using one way or the other. So what he just did was, he chose one line from a scale which is standardized, which we are using. But let's say if we had a non-English speaking person, and if we were to translate it, which was done by, let's say, a person who understands both languages, just see what happened. Where is the validity?
Yes. So, thing is, how do we solve it? Yeah, so first thing we have to understand how. I'll not bore you to death. Trust me. I'll tell how AI, or I'll now change the terminology. How typically data science work, especially in terms of generating things. So what we do is, we first collect a lot of data across and train our model on those data. The biggest problem with that training is, during winters I have, dry skin, and I don't, but some winter clothes. That's what I wear.
You wear your t-shirts.
Oh.
You wear your t-shirts.
Okay. Okay, Aarti wears. The point is, if we see this data together, every time it will come winter wears and dry skin. Algorithms will start thinking that winter wear creates dry skin. Hell no, it does not. It is the winter who creates or who asks us to have winter wears, and it is the winter that creates dry screen. So what we are talking about is the difference between correlation and causality, causation, right? If I see a lot of data, the biggest problem that we have is we can easily find out that these two data tend to appear together. Does not mean A causes B. When I say intelligence, that is about causality. Can we have a causal discussion? I told Dr. Parekh, so he answered this thing to me, so I said this, or so I thought, so that reasoning is the causality. So what machine is doing right now is we are still working on a correlation. Good news is we have humongous data set for correlation. So it is close to causality, because when I say winter to cloth, there is a lot of correlation. Winter to dry skin, there is also a lot of correlation. So machines will tend to understand a lot of things just because of the sheer volume of data that we have. And why is it happening now? Did we discover any new great algorithm in the last 2, 3 years, 5 years? No. It's just that our computational power is increasing. And it is going to increase. So algorithms are pretty straightforward, standard, simple. You can sit with me for 1-2 days and I can explain all the algorithms, how it works. It's not difficult. What was difficult was, it was difficult for us to compute those algorithms. We did not have enough computers. Now the computers are becoming extremely powerful. They're able to solve those algorithms and now able to find out data trained in trillions and trillions and trillions of data that we have created online. Good news still. So what it can do is it can basically imitate you. People used to like mug up and vomit. That's what is our best AI algorithm. They have mugged up everything that you know, we all as a collective group know, right? It just knows it all. Point is, what it can't do even today is we are finding it difficult to find out the causality, right? Now, in our case, even we as human beings tend to find it difficult to find out the causality part. So I'm getting a lot of cases, and this was actually a famous p-hacking that we used to say in our research study in psychology. So people said people who skip their breakfast tend to have insomnia. Honestly, this was the research. People who skip their breakfast tend to have insomnia. Now here what we are talking about, we are not talking correlation, we are talking causality. You miss breakfast means you will have insomnia. Possibly it's the ulta. Because you are having insomnia, you are missing your breakfast. And possibly there is a winter outside, which is your lifestyle, that is causing you to have both. You are skipping breakfast and having insomnia. So this is a major problem. What we are telling, what is going to come very soon, because the current AI model is very good at generating synthetic data, very accurate, what Dr. Parekh was telling. It is very difficult to say whether it was human written or machine written. While I can generate that for a essay to be written in my class test or home assignment, I can do it to generate synthetic data that can mimic the real data set. The biggest problem till date was also to get the real data set. But if now these AI models can generate trillions and trillions of synthetic data, and there I don't have any limit because it's model who is generating. I don't have to really wait for a human being to generate those data. Then the next model would be trained not on the human data, on the synthetic data being generated by the machine. Now we are talking about AGI, wherein a model is training itself. It is generating data, and from the data that is generating, it is training itself more, and then generating more data and training itself more. It creates a virtual cycle, right? So, are we close to that virtual cycle? Unfortunately, yes, we are very close to that virtual cycle. We do have enough computational power. Throw a lot of money, and we can do that. Machine can train itself. So Sachin taught himself, like every time I saw Sachin, every session he created new shots for him. Some of the other weaknesses he cured. The same way, machine can understand its own weakness and train it. It will not be difficult for the machine to understand the causality. So we are on the tip. Now what can we do? Like, do we fear it? No. Hell no. It's just like computer. We need to know how to best utilize it for our own advantage. A, B, how to ensure, and this is where I will request all of you to come and join in this movement. Because if it goes out of hand, it has a potential to be a disaster. It has a potential to be a disaster. You know, morphed images. Like, we will have privacy as a myth. So what we have to do is, we have to come right now as a team and also teach our students, children, about the possibilities of AI and mental health. Third thing is, if we use it properly, it can solve a lot of cases which is subclinical, preclinical stuff. As Dr. Parikh was studying statistics is against all of us, we can make the statistics in our favor. So we focus on the clinical stuff and allow a machine who can mimic us to focus on the subclinical, preclinical stuffs. So, governance of AI. If we don't govern, can I stop it? Like ostrich syndrome is not going to stop AI. It is going to happen. We like it, we hate it. That's the reality. So the best bet that we have is right now we come forward, we say, okay, 1, 2, 3 things should be there on AI. This is how your training should happen. This should be the data set on which you have to train. If there is an AI model, they have to come open on the list of data set that it was trained on. The thing is, if the data set is, there are a lot of examples that was telling ChatGPT is racist. I'm like, no, human being, we are racists. ChatGPT is trained on the same data. That's why it's speaking racist languages. So we have to be very, very careful on all the stages on the next set of discussion. Sorry, it took a lot of time for it. That's what.
We enjoyed it. But I just want to, one of the things he said, and just reflecting onto that, let's say as counselors, as educationists, this whole aspect that he talked about, the preclinical, subclinical and clinical, I think that's something to understand. So where I was also coming from is that basic study skills, basic exam skills, maybe even some more generic cognitive error corrections can be done through digital. What it does is, it saves you time. What it does is that a student or an individual can use this information as and when they want, every time they need, and you don't need to take out extra time for that. But you've governed, designed that effective tool so that now, when now some of these students may be struggling a lot different, then what you've created a layer 1 or a layer 2, this is where you start coming. So for you to be able to give intervention, you'll have to free yourself from the prevention aspect that I was saying. If somebody is not working on prevention, early identification, basic intervention, then you are not going to get time for the other intervention. It's possible in any. Which is where, like what he was talking about, is something to think about.
There's one very interesting thing that you said, Saurav, and that is something which I was just mulling over, and this is is something that I'd like to pose to you. So you said that this is not a replacement for humans, which it can't be, right? It's something which aids the whole process of skill building and counseling and everything. I mean, with counseling being such a one-on-one dynamic process, right, which has that human essence to it very much so, and which is paramount, right? Like that is all that there is in counseling. There's something which is concerning is that as counselors, as people on the other side, what are some things that we should know about AI? Something that it can help us with, how is it that, what are some things that we should consider that we can take in our stride to sort of aid that sort of process of counseling?
Will I lose my job?
Because that is concerning, right?
Will you lose my job?
Let's not be the communists of Kolkata 1980s.
Oh God, this was record is deleted. Oh yeah.
No. It's real. Let's talk history. Mid 80s, we had like IBM literally hackled out of the world because what we feared was computer is going to take away all our jobs. And that was the logic given back then. So basically, today's Bangalore came at the cost of 1980s Kolkata. Because the whole IT revolution was supposed to be planned at Kolkata. But the logic was the same. It is going to snatch away all our jobs. Guess what? Turned out it created a lot of jobs. So there are 2-3 things, let's understand it. First of all, it is not artificial intelligence. There is nothing intelligent about it. It just mimics. Mimics in a good way, like fairly decent. So it cannot think. That's the first thing. Second, it can mimic empathy. I repeat, it can mimic emotions. It cannot have that. So what you bring to the table, so that's what, even for the exam pattern, things like that, hard skills are becoming more and more and more obsolete. That will be replaced by machines. We don't need that. Like Panipat Third War, when did it happen? Like we need to understand why did it happen and what were the sequence and the consequence and the chronology of it. Not like the exact year. Like the same way, the requirement for hard skills are coming down. So that's also a message that you can carry and tell it to your kids. What is going to be there, which machine can never have? It's the soft skills. It's empathy. It's the ability to cry and laugh. Not like mimic cry and mimic and laugh. The web series examples. That's what we are so accustomed to. So no, you're not losing your job. What you're okay now. Let me wear the hat of me being the economist. So see, the thing is, let's understand 2 things. Number one, our demand is increasing very, very fast. Our population is increasing. A, B, percentage of population who need mental health services, that is also increasing. Okay. So when we say percentage of population who need mental health service, I mean, come on, guys, we have like social media replacing our social life. How can you have a population not needing mental health services? I mean, we have replaced everything. The schools are like machis ka dibba dikhta hai. I mean, लोगों को खेलने के लिए जगह किधर है? Our urban planning is having at the cost of the playgrounds and the ponds and the rivers. है किधर? Like it's a concrete jungle. So Dr. Parekh asked me like, give me your social media. I'm like, I don't have it. I'm not there in social media. And talk to me 1 year back. I was not even there in LinkedIn. अभी LinkedIn मजबूरी में करना पड़ रहा है क्योंकि investment आ रही है. तो वो देख के. हाँ मतलब I have to do it. But I'm not there in social media. I'm not there in Twitter. मुझे नहीं पता है. I'm completely asocial that way. But the thing is, that is not the reality. The reality is people are into social media. People are into, I don't know how to take a selfie properly. But if we have a population like that, the demand is increasing. On the supply side, do we have the supply increasing as much as the demand? No. Either it is shrinking or it is constant. And in terms of, let's go one step deep. The supply is painstaking. A typical clinical psychology session lasts for like 45 minutes. Even I used to book two, 3 sessions put together. 1.5 or 2 hours. Practically, you can see 5, 10 clients a day, not more than that. So if the demand is increasing, supply is either constant or shrinking, and we cannot create supply over time. We just can't clear. Life coaches are not life coaches. You cannot have some random idea about life and come and spoil someone's or play with someone's mental health. You cannot do that. So if we are talking about an increasing demand, a constant or not so much increasing supply, we are talking about a major shortage in the market. So when I was talking about the preclinical, subclinical stuff, people who don't get the help right now in some or the other form will then get into a place where it's a point of no return, which is chronic in nature. This is where we have to handle a lot so that you clinicians can handle cases which are extremely important, and it requires human being to handle. I see it the other way around. 1 in 33 get mental health support. 1 in 33, wherein 1 in 2 need it. 1 in 2 means half of the room will probably need mental health support. We are talking about solving that bit. Problem is much grave. Let's not panic. It's possible that it's going to create more opportunities because people will be more comfortable. Like, talk to a normal person, like going to normal person as in, I'm not normalizing it, I don't have a definition of being normal, but I'm talking about the common person on the street. They still fear, the definition of psychology and psychiatry. Pata nahi ghar mein pagal bolenge, sach mein. I'm a major psychiatric person myself. कितने बार मुझे बोला कि don't talk crazy.